Unlike the residential sector, commercial and industrial construction was dominated by a handful of large companies organized as the Toronto Construction Association, which dealt exclusively with the British-dominated unions of the Building Trades Council.
The unions were not prepared to help this wave of immigrants that came especially from Italy, from over Europe. But they were fairly well organized already on the industrial and commercial sector of the constructions. It was like you walked into a different world there, because they already had to use safety boots, they already had to wear safety hats. Talk about in the 50s. And the safety rules, the scaffold were all built according to the specification, and the working conditions were human, and the pay was good. Just look with envy at the beautiful industrial commercial buildings being built properly, and we were just looking outside with not even hope to get in there. There was the animosity against the Italian Catholics from the Anglo-Saxon part of the labor movement. It was very, very obvious for anybody to see. Like, there was discrimination. Eventually, we had to impose ourselves. We said, no way, we want a union. And we proved that contrary to what they all think, that the Italians were not very militant in the union, they were ready to work as scabs. We were ready to accept any work, any job, yes. Doesn't matter how humble, how dangerous, how dirty it was, because we came here to work. But as far as being unionized, when we got to the point that we cannot take it anymore, Toronto was paralyzed in 1960. For 3 weeks, nothing moved in the construction site, in the residential field. And that was 99% of the strikers were all Italians. There was a lot of help from other people like Jerry Gallagher from Local 183, Charlie Irvine, who was the vice president of the International Plasterers Union, and many others. But it was us.
Unlike most other British Canadian unionists at the time, Irvine understood the risks to the labor movement in continuing to neglect the growing number of cheap, non-unionized immigrant workers in the construction industry. Irvine saw in Zanini and his Italian-Canadian union an opportunity to grow his influence in the booming residential sector. Irvine's fiery, combative tone and Zanini's streetwise charisma made a good impression on each other, and the duo would form a lasting, though sometimes rocky alliance that would forever transform Ontario's construction industry. In 1957, after a 5-day illegal strike, Irvine and Zanini organized the Plasterers Local 117 and Cement Finishers Local 117C, the latter led by Angelo Brigana. They secured a 40-hour work week, welfare benefits, and wage increases for its members, which they were able to extend to the whole province the following year after successfully calling the Ontario government to apply the Industrial Standard Act. Shortly after the Hogs Hollow tragedy, the Scottish and Italian duo decided to form an alliance of residential construction unions that could rival the Commercial Building Trades Council. For this, they brought together their union locals with the Bricklayer Helpers, organized by Zanini as the Laborers Local 811, led by George Petta, and also with the United Brotherhood of Carpenters Local 1190, led by Frank Colantonio.
We start calling meeting on a place called the Italian-Canadian Recreation Club that was on 33 Brandon Avenue. We started to have meetings there every night, and the hall was getting full. We were called Brandon Union Group because of the meeting on the Brandon Avenue. But the main figure that time was Charlie Irvine. He was a real leader. He could transform the people to create the enthusiasm, the will to fight. And that's what he did. Between him and Bruno Zanini, regardless of anything else, we owe it to them if we were able to start getting unionized.